여러분 안녕하십니까?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming for the shipbuilding session of the World Ocean Forum 2023. Let us begin the shipbuilding session. This session will be run under the theme of Ocean Mobility and Ocean Digital Solution Technology in the Age of 2050 Carbon Neutrality. This session is being live streamed via the official YouTube channel of the World Ocean Forum into Korean and into English. If you have any questions, well, please post your question on the official YouTube channel. Simultaneous interpretation is being provided into Korean and into English. Korean is channel 1 and English is channel 2.
Shipbuilding session of World Ocean Forum 2023. Now we are actually being live streamed online on our official website and also the YouTube channel. So if you have any questions, you can leave these questions real time on our channel so we can address them later at the Q&A session. And also we provide simultaneous interpretation. You can use the receivers, tune it into channel number 1 for Korean and 2 for English. Thank you. Now let me introduce to you our moderator.
Our moderator for this shipbuilding session is Dr. An Kwang-han, President of HD Korea Shipbuilding and Offshore Engineering. Please welcome him with a big hand. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As introduced, I'm An Kwang-han. I'm currently serving as the president of HD Korea Shipbuilding and Offshore Engineering. I would like to thank all of you for being here despite your busy schedules. I would like to welcome all the business people, scholars, and experts to this forum as well as this shipbuilding session. I hope that the session will be informative and insightful to all of you. When we have this kind of forum, especially in the field of shipbuilding and the oceans and fisheries, many people want to know more about what we are going to do in order to brace ourselves for the future. That is because the world is moving in the direction of decarbonization and net zero. And Korea is leading the shipbuilding and ports and shipping industry in the world. Last week, I visited the United States and Greece. In Greece, I attended a forum with the participants from the shipbuilding as well as the shipping industry. Ship owners and charterers took part in the forum, and I went to the U.S. to learn about the development in the decarbonization technologies around the world. I wanted to see it myself, and that objective was achieved. And I learned that businesses around the world are quite active in proceeding with this new technology, which will sustain them over the next 10 to 20 years. And I, on behalf of my organization, also signed an MOU. As you know all too well, IMO set the goal that the shipping and shipbuilding industry, as well as the oceans and maritime industry, should cut down its carbon emission compared to the baseline by 50% by 2050. By 2030, in order to become carbon neutral by 2050, that is why there is such a great need for a paradigm shift in terms of the shipbuilding as well as the vast ship fuel practices. That is why in the maritime industry, everyone is looking for green fuel and alternative fuels. We are at the crossroad. Ammonia, hydrogen, and SMR are great no-carbon fuels. However, they are rather expensive for us to adopt at a large scale. So these are the things we have to take into consideration. Green fuel, the fuel cell, hydrogen and ammonia, and SMR have prompted us into exploring new fuel alternatives. Then we also have to consider what we need to do in order to help existing vessels to introduce this new technology. And that is why we talk about CCS as well, and what kind of technology we are going to use for CCS. But this is another area of interest for many people. So this is a session for us to learn what we are doing and what we have done and where we are going. For that, we have 4 speakers. As you know, the subject and the theme of the session is ocean mobility and ocean digital solution technology in the age of 2050 carbon neutrality. So we'd like to focus on both not just decarbonization, but also digitalization as well. And with that, I would like to introduce our speakers. The first presentation will be delivered by Professor Lee Kang-Ki, who is a Senior Vice President of AVL List. Professor Lee is currently working as the Senior Vice President and responsible for high power systems at AVL List, and he is also teaching at a university. And he also worked as the president of MAN Diesel Korea, and he has made such a great contributions to this industry as a global leader in this field. And his presentation is titled Green Technology for Decarbonization, Lifecycle Management, and Green Shipping Corridor. Please welcome him with a big hand.
Hello, everyone. I'm very delighted to be invited here, so I like to thank very much for the organizers, and also I feel very much honored to be here. I know it's middle of many events going on in this city, Busan, and although you shared your value of time and be present here, and hearing to my, let's say, presentation about this topic. I thank you very much for this. And this is a kind of moment, given time, 15 minutes is a really short time to discuss about this. But I would be pleased if you take this as an opportunity to think about our common goal for the climate issue. So my topic here is actually given by Mr. An on his program about this big topic, and topic about green technology for digitalization. And also I added another, let's say, small topic of life cycle management, and also the green shipping corridor, because this is a kind of a new concept since after COP26 Glasgow. And also this has been even, let's say, more strengthened after COP27, because already 24 countries already agreed and signed, and then over 40 institutions are participating already. This is a new concept, And this is really a kind of, let's say, invitation and also demanding guideline to cooperate all together. As Mr. An already mentioned it, it is not only one stakeholder can solve this issue. It's really a time now we have to all cooperate each other. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to solve this issue. This is really the essence of, let's say, the total theme of this program. For the sake of time, I will not go all the way through, but this is just, let's say, expression of the context, what is speaking about my presentation, and I will talk about shortly. We are in many fields of the industry, we are a little bit mixed terminology we are using, decarbonization and greenhouse gas. Already from the chair, he has spoken about greenhouse gas already. So we have to be more cautious about in the future to call more greenhouse gas instead of decarbonization. And then what is a fact, so where we are now, and then also what is way to go, and what is your takeaway after this session. This is what I'm going to discuss about your issue. I start with a summary first. Maybe it's too fast, but I would very much like to emphasize in the world, over 80%, somebody say over 90%, all the transportation is done by shipping. So without shipping, it's hardly imagine how the economy or society itself can run. So over 80% is a good number. Over 80% of total transportation is done by maritime transportation. This is an extremely important message. And also, I like to add here more, the maritime transportation. This is the most ecological, the most clean method for the transportation. As I have demonstrated on the right side, if we compare this maritime transportation to the rail transportation, usually rail transportation emits twice as much as shipping. And you usually live with showing many of truck transportation. This truck generates, you multiply by 2, then it's 6 times higher emission than shipping. So 3 times higher than rail. And then the air freight is generating 8 times higher. So totally, you can compare to the shipping, it is 40 times. So this is a very clear figure. The shipping transportation is the most clean measure how to move the goods. Approximately, the resisted ocean-going ships under the IMO organization is about 100,000 ships, producing about 3% of the emission. This is the figure how you look at it. But as the ship are very intensified generation of the emission, that's why public focused on each individual ships because of the simply the size of the power and also the volume itself. So despite of we are the most clean transportation measure, but this 3% is 3%. So we have to do anything which is possible to reduce this figure. So all the associate, let's say, stakeholders, experts, engineers, and operators, all stakeholders, they are really doing their best to reduce this figure as low as possible. And the left side of the bar chart is a kind of a projection how the fleet will increase. This is predicted by international organization according to the average growth of economy. When economy grows, normally the logistics also follows. And this is the figure which I have borrowed from the renowned classification society, DNV. Their figure, they have issued the maritime energy outlook, how this energy will be transit. This is a figure from this year, one second, yeah. This is a very latest figure. I will not go in detail, but one message I like to give you, this is the projection of the hydrogen is not as much as we shipping required. Usually this hydrogen is a kind of a fuel which is still in a scale which we do not expect can be used for the maritime. So that's why we project the forecast for the fuel in maritime industry is on the right side here. This is the figure which we think, I don't know whether you can see this pointer. This is a world maritime, let's say, sector for the energy demand. And here you can see the red figure. This is which you call fossil fuel. This is oil, yeah? So you can see from 2025 and then to the 2050, it is sharp decrease. This is what everybody says. That what will be replacing? Because previous slide I have mentioned already, the growth of the economy, the demand of shipping is increased, which means demand of the energy will increase. So what will be the substitution? And the substitution will be here, the first big part in this light green, this is ammonia. And the dark green here, you can see here, this is a bioenergy, whatever be, it's a bioenergy. And still, the gray color representing natural gas is still playing important role. And then quite recently, we are discussing about the e-fuels, and e-fuels will also take a big part. It's very dim. And then black color is electricity. Electricity, we expect this is clean, but the problem is how to generate electricity. This is the issue. That's why we do not expect the electricity is that much will play in this projection for 2050 fuel mix. I think you know better than I do. There are lots of institutions, regulatory bodies, they are issuing new regulations, enforcing, and all those things. But when we are talking about the shipbuilding, we have to discuss about the regulation from the IMO. And this IMO, they have a first time, they have a first time projected their strategy on this chart, but from MEPC 80, they have a new slogan. This is zero carbon. What is the essence of the MEPC 80? There is a life cycle assessment, life cycle, let's say management. That is one, and then zero emission. And in parallel, almost time-wise, the same period of time, the COP26 and 27, they have, let's say, catchphrased the slogan of the green shipping corridor, which I will discuss a little later. Here, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have to discuss about what is really the parameter which impact to the climate change. Many people, they are using the terminology of the decarbonization because carbon dioxide, it is the element which really impact to the climate. It is, yes, as on the right side, the pie diagram, about 80% of carbon dioxide is the let's say, dominating figure to the greenhouse gas. Actually, what is really the terms of element which impact to the climate change? It is a greenhouse gas, because the greenhouse gas is the one which sealed the temperature and getting Earth warmer and warmer, and which result in lots of, let's say, climate changes. But here, we have to also focus on other parameters, because CO2 and carbon dioxide emission, how to reduce this. This technology is rather generalized. So now we all know how to reduce. But the point I am also more addressing is the remaining parameters, which consist of about 20%. This is the area which we need really high technology and also, let's say, cooperation more. And this is representing, first of all, 11% of the, which we call methane slip. And then we call kind of a, we call laugh gas, N2O. This is another one. And then remaining 3% is some other parameters. But here, these three parameters is very much depending on the emission which usually coming out from the propulsion system or energy generation system of the ship, that is in the form of the black carbon or particulate matters. This is a very small amount compared to the CO2 generation or any other gas, but in reality, the global warming potential of these elements is a much higher index than usual. For example, the CO2 is 1, correspondingly, the particulate matters deviating close to 900. So this is why we have to focus, and also the, as I have mentioned, the CO2 reduction technology is more generalized. So now we have to focus on these remaining corners which require much higher technology. Those methods or high technology or state of art, this require investment and also time for the development. So obviously, to apply this in an industrial scale for the ship, it will be rather big challenge. So we cannot just sit down and wait until this investment is done and wait until the technology is ready for industrialization. We should do something. That's why some of the, let's say, stakeholder, big stakeholder in this case is MASK. We call MASK effect, because after they place an order, I think totally 19 ships to the Hyundai, the shipbuilding company here. There are many other customers also, many other shipping companies that also followed. That's why we have now lots of ships with a methanol fueled ship. And this methanol is a kind of, let's say, what we can call immediate application of the reduction measure. So that's why we say this, the methanol the fueled ship is a kind of a transition method. We do not think this is the permanent or absolute, let's say, way to reach to the decarbonization or zero emission, and also the target of the greenhouse gas reduction targeting, for example, 70% down. But this is at least what we can do now to make it better, to make it more clean. This is why we took a measure, and also the investment was made. And the total here, this is the first ship sailed out from Korea all the way, and then now getting alongside in the mother port of Copenhagen. You can see this. So this is a demonstration, the stakeholders, how strong they are committing themselves to contribute how to reduce. So this is something it's already done, and then as a kind of a following action, there are another stakeholders, mostly from Greece. They have already ordered some of the ships with ammonia as ready fuel. So this is a second step, which will be a further step forward to the cleaner fuel opportunities. So if we say what could be the, let's say, the technology to be called for this mission, it's categorized. It can be categorized in these four. One is the fuel side, and then the other one is power generation side, and then what will be the propulsion system, and then this is in fact two. One is in the hull side for the ship itself, and then the other one is how to propel the ship within the ship that is normally called the engine room. And this is the four category, and now the technology is much more developed. So in addition to this classical or conventional categorized technology, we can add up more. For example, let's say fuel cell technology and carbon capture technology, and also after capture the carbon, how we can convert this carbon to the fuel like methanol. So this is what we call electrolyzer. And those, the high-end technologies can be almost ready and to be applied for the ship. And this can be hybrid or integrated. This is a new task, so we are entering to the complexity for the ship designers, but I'm sure they will solve these issues together. So what will be scenario for the future? There is no silver bullet. There is no royal road to reach this. So this is a kind of a scenario in the future. The future will be complexity and requiring high flexibility, as this is a good picture I have borrowed from MAN Energy Solution. As you can see, some of the ships, it will be fueled by the LPG, it will be fueled by methanol, it will be fueled by ammonia, it will be fueled by hydrogen, it will be fueled by biofuels. It will be very much different depending on the ship owners, the intention for their investment, which means subject to the route, subject for the ship type, and subject to the propulsion system, subject to the availability of fuels. And here, to make this possible, without having a digitalization, this is not possible. This is why I have borrowed another photo from HTKSOE and their concept for the future. When we talk about the digitalization, we are very often confusing on this terminology. And here I have categorized three. One, which you just convert from data, which normally analog, and just convert to the digital, then we call digitization. This is very basic. This is not ready concept which you can utilize for the industrial scale. And then we can go further. The new terminology I have used here is the digitalization. And this is the concept which you convert some of the data to the digital form and then ready for your work. Then it's a digitalization. And then what we need is digital transformation. This is one of the slogans Mr. An already mentioned it. And this is also one of the main themes of this session. And this digital transformation is which normally the people are using digitalization. But real meaning is digital transformation. This is a concept which we can use for the business application. And here, to make you better understanding about this, I have borrowed one of the example which is organized by, in reality, DMV and NTNU and SINTEF. This is these three entities are based in Norway. they started, okay, digital transformation, which is really good, but each stakeholders, they have their own digitalized data. So when you are communicating, and then you have to open the first door to exchange data, and then second, you have to follow some certain standard. Otherwise, exchange itself is not resulting really applicable for industrial use, which I have used digitalized transformation. So that's why we need some open platform. Open platform providing standardized rule which everybody can communicate and understand, and which is actually acknowledged data and can be used for their system. So that's why there is a kind of, let's say, group of the companies and institutions together. We have exercised based on 6 ship model, and then all those, let's say, technology leaders, they put on their data, and then they have exercised. This was done for 2.5 years. So, as a conclusion, from now on, I think it's a kind of, let's say, paradigm change. Previously, you didn't need much data for building a ship. You know, when you build a ship, what kind of ship, how fast it will be, what fuel you will use, what will be the route. Very basic data. But now, after having this new concept, because of the life cycle assessment, because when you use electrification, you have to also count on how you produce this electricity. If this electricity is generated from the fossil fuel, then it is not anymore clean fuel or clean power. So we have to take all process. Same concept goes to the whole transportation. This is the concept of the green shipping corridor, which means when you produce goods to be moved, so we count from the producers or manufacturers how these goods are transported from the manufacturer to the harbor, how the port authority or port operators have maneuvered these goods, how much energy, which energy they have used, and then loaded on the ship, and then how the ship have moved these goods, and then when ship arrived to the port, arrival port, and same goes to the far end of the, let's say, retailer. So all this chain of stakeholders for complete logistic, they have to be clean. Otherwise, we will just shift one ball to another. So this is not anymore the concept. This is why actually on the COP26 in Glasgow, first British government and also Danish government, they agreed together, and then they have sent a, let's say, letter to the most of the important shipping and shipbuilding countries, which they have now agreed by 24 countries. And now, especially, it's rather important because Korean government and US government, these two countries together, they have assigned 3 ports each in Korea, Busan, Masan, and another port. And then in US, Tacoma, and also the Enebit. So those ports, they have assigned as a kind of, let's say, exercising port to build up the green corridor. So how actually it will be, yeah? So the two governments, they are cooperating together. I think this is going to be a good example what will be the, let's say, the reality could be, and what will be the task for all stakeholders to follow. So this is a, let's say, basic concept. So one is all stakeholders in a chain, they have to consider about this green concept. That is one, and then the other one is any energy on this chain, they have to think about the whole life their energy is produced, how this is consumed. For whole life has to be managed. So this is life cycle management. So according to this, and also shipping, they have to earn money, obviously. Yeah, they have to earn money, and that's how they can run the business, how they can contribute to society. So for doing this, or for achieving this, now we have to think about what will be the total cost of ownership. So it is the way all the stakeholders, especially all those leading technology or demanded technology, are exercised and then virtualized and materialized is by the shipyard. So shipbuilding company, together with their associated suppliers, they have to have good acknowledgement on this concept, and they have to exercise and to realize this concept. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee Kang-Ki, for your insightful presentation. Please give him another round of a big hand. The world is changing so rapidly on such a variety of fronts. There are so many topics we have to address and cover. And recently, especially, I came to see that advances in technology so fast. Now we are talking about not in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. We cannot look into that far future. Now we talk about in 6 months' time, in 12 months' time. That's how fast the world is moving right now. In 2019-2020, IMO released its decarbonization target, and we thought of ammonia to be feasible only in and around 2050, but that has become a reality already.